Pip and the Mushroom Drum. In a meadow painted silver by the moon lived a little field mouse named Pip. Pip's home was a cozy nook in the roots of an old oak tree, with a bed made of the softest moss and a tiny window that looked out at the stars. Tonight, the moon was a perfect shining pearl, and the stars twinkled like scattered diamonds. It was the perfect night for sleeping. But Pip couldn't sleep. He tossed and he turned. He fluffed his mossy pillow. He counted all the fireflies blinking outside his window. He even tried counting his own whiskers, but he kept losing track. Sleep just wouldn't come. With a tiny sigh, Pip hopped out of bed and padded over to his window. Everything in the meadow was quiet and still. The crickets had sung their last song, and the frogs by the pond were silent. The whole world seemed to be asleep, except for him. "Maybe a little walk will make me sleepy," he whispered to himself. He slipped out of his front door, a little hole hidden by a clover leaf. The night air was cool and smelled of damp earth and sweet honeysuckle. The moonlight made everything look magical, turning blades of grass into silver swords and dewdrops into tiny jewels. Pip ambled through the quiet meadow, his little feet making no sound at all. He followed a path worn smooth by beetles and ants, until he came to the edge of the whispering woods. The trees stood tall and dark, but Pip wasn't afraid. The woods were always kind at night. As he stepped under the canopy of leaves, he heard something new. It was a soft, rhythmic sound. Thump, 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 thump. It was a gentle, steady beat, like a quiet drum. It was slow and calming. Pip's curiosity tingled in his whiskers. What could be making that sound in the middle of the night? He tiptoed deeper into the woods, following the sound. It grew a little louder, but it was never scary. Thump, 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 thump. He passed a family of sleeping squirrels curled up in a high branch. He saw a badger, fast asleep at the entrance to its burrow. He even saw Old Man Owl perched on a limb, but his eyes were closed and his head was tucked under his wing. Everyone was asleep, but the sound continued. Thump, 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 thump. Finally, Pip arrived at a small clearing. And there, in the very center, was the source of the sound. It was the biggest mushroom Pip had ever seen. It was a beautiful, pale mushroom that seemed to glow in the moonlight. And on top of it, a single, heavy drop of water was falling from a high leaf, over and over again. The droplet would gather on the tip of the leaf, growing bigger and shinier, until it finally let go and fell. Plink, onto the soft, springy cap of the giant mushroom, making a gentle thump. Then another droplet would form and do it all over again. Thump, 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 thump. It was the heartbeat of the quiet forest. Pip sat down on a velvety patch of moss and just listened. The steady, peaceful rhythm was the most comforting sound he had ever heard. It was slower than his own excited heart. It was the rhythm of the calm, sleeping world. He watched the glowing water drop form and fall, and listened to its soft beat. A great, warm yawn stretched his tiny mouse body. His eyelids felt heavy. The sound wasn't keeping him awake anymore. It was tucking him in. Slowly, sleepily, Pip padded all the way back through the whispering woods and across the silver meadow. He slipped back into his cozy home under the oak tree roots and climbed into his soft moss bed. He could no longer hear the mushroom drum from here, but he could remember it. He closed his eyes and imagined the sound in his mind. Thump, 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 thump. It was the lullaby of the sleeping forest, and with the gentle rhythm playing in his dreams, Pip the little field mouse finally, peacefully, fell fast asleep. Good night.